What's up guys, Caddy here. Now today I'm bringing you guys the second battle of week 6 of the IEP League. Now for this battle I was against the Pewter Pin Missiles, which we have actually battled before. That was the one with my Hitmonlee using the Lychee Berry to sweep. I think that was week 1 if I remember rightly. It might even be the first ever battle. So if you missed that one, do check that one out as well because yeah, that was a really good battle. And to be honest, this one was a really good one as well. So he had a lot of threats on his team that I really had to watch out for, namely the Kyurem Black, the Mega Sceptile. He also had access to Mega Pinsir. The Espeon was also a problem, and I knew for a fact he was probably going to bring the Granbull to stop the Hitmonlee from sweeping like last time. So it was it had to come down to which Mega he was choosing. Mega Sceptile was a problem because it was really fast and it outspeed my Latios. And pretty much the rest of my team. But then if he brought the Mega Pinsir, it was much better at wall breaking, but I did have one or two things that could handle it. So it was really difficult to know which one to bring, so I decided to sort of split it and make sure I had checks to both. So my checks for the Pinsir was namely having the Latios that outsped, and the Dusclops that could wall it to an extent. I think I could kind of take hits with Umbreon, and Foul Play was a 2-hit KO. So I did have ways to stop it, but they weren't the most sort of effective ways, if that makes sense. And then, in case he brought the Sceptile, namely Dusclops, this was a physically defensive Dusclops, but even then, Leaf Storm did about 30 to 40%, I think. So I could literally wall this guy for days without too much trouble at all. And an Ice Shard on a Adamant Donphan was also a Oko as well. He also didn't really have access to either Rapid Spin or Defog outside of the Excadrill. So I knew he was probably either going to bring the Excadrill or the Espeon. So what I decided was I was going to bring Sticky Webs because a lot of his team was grounded. If I could get Sticky Webs up, the Sceptile would definitely not be too much of a problem. And also he always liked to scarf his Kyurem B. And once his Kyurem B was scarfed, was caught in Sticky Web, I knew for a fact that Latios could come in, Revenge Kill, and potentially sort of sweep for his team quite easily. He still lacked a lot of priority as well, which is why I brought the Hitmonlee. But this time it was a fake out normal gem Unburden, so I didn't have to rely on the Lychee Berry and sort of enduring down to that point. And I knew he was probably fearing that set again, so that's why I decided to sort of slightly change it up. And that was also a really good stop to Mega Sceptile. So we're going to jump straight into the match. The first thing I did identify is he had the Espeon rather than the Excadrill, so I knew he was probably going to lead off with that, and my best bet to lead off with was actually getting a really offensive pressure going at the start and leading off with a Latios. This is also Mega Latios as well, and the plan was if he was bringing the Excadrill, or maybe the Seismitoad was to lead off with the Leavanny, get some Calm Minds and baton pass them into my Mega Latios, which is also a sub-variant as well, sub-3 attacks, and if I could get that, then pretty much from the go, I could really get a strong sweep going. But unfortunately, because he brought the Espeon, I couldn't really lead off with the Leavanny because I had Bug Buzz on this, which was a sort of a playoff, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to take him down. And also, if he started setting up Reflects and stuff like that, I knew that was going to be a problem. So I led off with the Latios straight away, as he did lead off with the Espeon. So I end up outspeeding first turn, so I was thinking it might be a speed tie, doing a really good amount, but he showed that he was HP invested. And actually, the damage calcs showed that he was actually not fully speed invested as well. He had a tiny shred in special defense or something like that, because I actually ended up doing more damage than the maximum amount of damage that I could have done. So he goes to the Toxic here, which isn't too bad because I have got the Heal Bell on the Umbreon, and there are a few things I could Heal Bell on. So I decided just to get this guy out of the way in case he was bringing the screens. So then he goes out, obviously, into his Scarfed Kyurem B. As I go out into PP Thief here, and PP Thief really doesn't care what this guy has for me, because a Dragon Claw crit still, isn't even a 2-hit KO. So I go for the Will-O-Wisp here as he goes out into Parsley. Now I was expecting maybe a Calm Mindset on this, but he does reveal here he is actually the screens. So I'd count that a +1 Giga Drain, which I think was probably the best move he had for me, really wouldn't have done enough to 2-hit KO me. So I was able to get a Nightshade, and then I could have rested up from there. But obviously he shows that he's got the screens here. So I want to just literally stall out for as much as possible here. So he's down to 1 HP now, and I know the best thing he's got for me is Energy Ball. So I decide to rest here to bring myself up to full HP, and I can literally sit here. There's nothing on his team that can really hit me that hard. He goes out into Clock, setting up the rocks, which is fine. I know I've lost my Focus Sash on the Leavanny, unless I can get a free switch into Donphan to get the Rapid Spin off. Stone Edge just does absolutely nothing, as I just get a Nightshade, which is fine, to be honest, just to get a bit more damage. He reveals his Citrus Berry, which is really interesting. And then he goes out into Gunter, as I get the Will-O-Wisp off, which is going to be really, really useful, because I can whittle this guy down and tank pretty much any hit this guy's got, because Energy Ball, 32%, really not enough. As I just go for the Nightshade for damage, because I knew I could take either 2 Energy Balls or 2, what's it called, Leaf Storms, because of the special attack drop. So he does go out to Junkyard here. So I go for the rest, just predicting him to either attack or switch out, and his screens start going down now. So I knew that I was in a really strong position, because I've still got 6 Mons. I have the potential now to set up the sticky webs as well, with the Espeon gone as well. It was really, really looking up for me. He really couldn't touch PP Thief here, and I just go for the Will-O-Wisp again, and unfortunately I do miss, but it doesn't make much difference. It was just a Sleep Talk attack, so he goes to the player off again, as I get the Will-O-Wisp off here. Now I knew he was probably going to go for the Heal Bell here, so I go out into my Donphan here, because this is the defensive one, but he does actually go for the Toxic here, which is fair enough. I could have obviously rested up from later on, so it wouldn't have been too much of a problem if I stayed in. So he goes down to Gunter here. I'm not sure what his plan was here, because obviously I could Ice Shard. So he does end up switching out, trying to test for that Ice Shard as he goes out into Junkyard. And I just go for the Ice Shard here just to get a little bit of damage. But now I can actually then Rapid Spin off for free, because I knew I could take a hit from this guy, because it was looked to be a defensive one, as he does just go for the Play Rough. And now what I want to do is time it right, where Hannibal would go down, he would still have Junkyard out, and I could go into my Leavanny and set up the Stealth, the Sticky Webs for free, before the Mega Sceptile can come out. So then it loses its speed, and I can really get it from there. So I end up going for the Ice Shard here, just because it does 8%, and then after the Play Rough hits me and the Toxic KOs me, he'll be down to a point where I'll go down, but he'll still be alive on 1 HP. But unfortunately, as you can see, he does miss the Play Rough, which means that my whole plan of just doing a tiny bit of damage really fails, because now he's able to KO me. I end up KOing him, but I go down to Toxic as well, which wasn't the situation I really wanted. As he goes out into Gunter here, does take some Rocks damage, but now, because of the lack of Rocks, I can go out into Jitterbug. I set up the Sticky Web here, because I knew I could take a hit from this guy, and I could easily go out into spinning around to get my Fake Out, normal gem boosted hit off there, as he obviously flinches, and now I'm unburdened, so I can Poison Jab this guy, and Close Combat actually cleans up from here, especially with that speed drop as well. I don't think it made any difference. I did Speed Creep to make sure that I would outspeed this guy after my Unburden boost, so I go for the Close Combat, and then it just leaves the Regirock, which after Rocks is actually then a KO. I think it was a little bit iffy if I didn't have Rocks up, so Rocks definitely made a difference in that, but in the end of the day, I could have really bopped him with anything else. So that was a really, really good battle. I must admit, I did a lot of prep for this one, and Pewter Pin Missiles does have a lot of threats that, yeah, Mega Pinsir is absolutely terrifying, and I was absolutely terrified he was going to bring it again. But luckily he didn't, and all of my preparations managed to pull off, which is really, really useful. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the battle, and I will see you guys at the next one. Macadii out.